Hello and welcome to the Business Spotlight interview series. I'm your host, Barrett McDonald, and I'm happily joined today by Brandon Doyle, co-owner of Smile Dog. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us today. Would you like to kick things off with a little bit about who you are and what got you started on your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, for sure. I'm Brandon. Like Barrett said, I co-own Smile Dog. I actually co-own it with my dad Jeff. We've been running it for about 17 years now. So in terms of how I got into the business, this was just a complete working in Toronto after university, doing the old grind, and couldn't stand it, to be honest. Looking at spreadsheets all day for a couple of years. And my dad kind of, it was July of 2016, I believe, just offhandedly kind of asked, look, I need some help with the sales side of the business. Is this something that you might be interested in? I immediately went, yep, sounds good to me. I need to get out of here. Packed up. And then by August, I was driving back home and yeah, starting to work for dad to see how it goes. And then here we are 9 years later.
Fantastic. That's a good trajectory. So what would you attribute the growth to over at Smile Dog?
Consistency. Yeah, I'd have to say, yeah, consistency. We've never had a moment where it's, holy, we've jumped a million or $2 million in. It's never been like major, huge growth. For us, it's been kind of slow, consistent, constant growth, always working on our service, improving the service and becoming better and better and better at what we do. I think that has really been the key is just consistently and just showing up all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Consistency is key. When people know what they're getting, that's kind of where they want to go and keep returning back
Yeah,
to.
small little wins over the years, they tend to add up.
Yeah, absolutely. People don't mind paying a little bit of a premium when they know they're going to get that consistency and dependability, which is a good
Yeah.
way to be. So you kind of mentioned off camera, like you have a team of about 25 people. So how do you
Yep.
go about finding those highly qualified individuals, and what do you do to foster that positive work environment?
So for us, it starts with this is an ongoing project. For us, it starts with kind of the culture of the business. And that's been we're not done. I don't think it's ever done. It's kind of constantly something that you're always working on. But for us, it starts kind of with our core values of smiling, professional, and awesome. So with smiling, we choose happy. With always do great work, and with awesome, we try to wow everyone. So that's kind of the root of what we do into our decision making here, and we use that as our guide to find the right people, find the right clients, and really just make decisions in terms of what direction we want to go in with the company. But in terms of finding quality staff, we actually do a lot of referral based kind of hiring, where uh, like an opportunity for our existing staff to go out to market and then find someone who would be great for us. Where we do use the Indeeds and those types of websites. However, sometimes we get inundated with hundreds of resumes from everywhere, and it becomes this process of how do we even sift through these? So we like to go the warmer route of someone who's already part of our team can go and tell them what it's like to work here and bring someone in. So we've actually found huge success that, and that's where we have the highest retention is through our referral type hiring.
That's a really unique and cool approach, and that's a
Mhm.
fun one that a lot of people will probably end up adapting after they watch this interview, which is good. So, what would you say have been your biggest learnings since now you're an employer and having to deal with those stresses and issues?
Um, so staff are probably the thing that's going to propel you furthest the most and either hold you back the most. So for us, it's kind of how do you find the right player for the right seat?
Right.
And then someone who wants to be within that seat and has the capacity to do it and you want to do it essentially. So one thing maybe that I probably learned from experience, if you try to find the best person in the industry for that role, they won't last because they're
Right.
always looking for the next thing. This is a stepping path to get me further where I want to go. So what we've done, create a model where we're looking for the right A players for this particular seat. And by doing that and not trying to go to market and find the absolute best talent, it's more about what's the best talent for what we can actually afford. That really has helped us find someone who is excited and wants to grow within this position.
Fantastic. Yeah, because you can always teach them those skill sets that they need,
Yeah,
which is a
and
tremendous
yeah,
approach.
someone who has a good attitude, and a desire to want to grow and get better. That's something that we definitely look for. But it's more from within the realm of the seat that we're looking to hire for, not someone who's already well above that, who's just going to move on within 12 months.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So what would you say are some of the common misconceptions about being an entrepreneur and a business owner that you've come across, and what do you do to combat those?
That we're rolling in dough. I guess maybe a misconception in the sense of like, oh yeah, you're the business owner. You are living the life that you want to live and whatnot. I mean, I do love the freedom of being able to kind of choose what I want to do. However, more often than not, you don't have that simply because you're responsible to everyone at the end of the day. So I think that would probably be one of the biggest misconceptions, just like a weight on your shoulders that you have when you don't just clock in and clock out. It's just not really the
Right.
reality of it. It's a constant thing that's always on for all the time. Um, but I think that might be one of the bigger misconceptions is just like, oh yeah, you're on top, it's easy for you. But I just don't think that there's a disconnect there, and maybe like the narrative that happens within the media, like yes, the business owners they're talking about is the 1% unicorns, not all of the ones who are just making a living, and trying to provide for their family, really. So
Yeah, absolutely. It's not an easy slog, that's for sure. We just got
yeah,
to keep plugging
yeah.
along. How do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business?
I don't let the business dictate everything in my life in the sense of I look at it in the approach of, okay, the business is an asset that's going to provide an income for my family. It isn't my identity and who I am.
Okay.
That's what I've done mentally, is that sometimes I lean too far to the right in the sense of, okay, this is all I have. This is my business. This is who I am. But it's just a part of me. So what I kind of do is try to separate the two in that my family, my partner, my relationships are always the most important in my health. Business is something that I can use to help support that essentially.
Fantastic approach to that for sure. If you were to start a business from square one all over again, what would you do differently the next time around?
Uh, I feel like yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know if I would want to start a business all over again, to be honest, because the hardest part is that first 100 is definitely that hard that is by far the hardest part. It's hard to just continuously go and like finally see it happen. Um, but in terms of if I did start again, I'm not sure I would, to be honest.
Okay.
I'll be fully honest and transparent. I'm not sure if I would fully start again, in the sense of trying to get something right off the ground. What I might look for is has someone laid the groundwork already, and how can I come in and help? Because I feel like for me personally, that's something that gives me more energy than fully bootstrapping. It would be okay. Is there something that's kind of lifted a bit up off the ground that is struggling to get to that next level? How can I come in and then help scale it? That's probably something that I'm doing versus
Right.
right from zero.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And that's self-awareness is key with everything.
Mm.
So I applaud you for that as well. So excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Um, the last kind of question I have for you as we're wrapping up, for anyone
Yep.
who might be watching this series at home and thinking about jumping on an entrepreneurial business ownership journey, what's one piece of advice that you have for them?
Cash flow. Cash flow, without cash flow, you can't survive to see the next day. So be very, very focused on your cash flow. And then the other side of it would be, I know like yeah, sometimes you want to dip your toes a little bit and whatnot, but I don't know if that's like real in business. Just go. Just because dipping your toes sometimes, like, timing is everything. And if you dip your toes constantly all the time, there's an opportunity that you're missing that you don't really realize it. So flow, make sure you have a good grasp on cash flow and understanding the ability to keep the fuel of the business going. If you have a really good grasp on that, and then take a little bit of the risk and just jump in.
Absolutely. Well, fantastic approach. So, Brandon, thank you so much for joining us today. And to everyone watching at home, I look forward to seeing you in our next episode.
Yeah, thanks so much.